right. So this is something that I'm trying out. It's called Taking 10, and it's players talking about their characters. 10 questions. Question number one: can you introduce us to your character and tell us a little bit more about who they are?
Oh, that's easy. Aukan is his real name. Bearkiller is what he goes by many. He is well known in the lands to be the defender of not only the weak, but also humanity and all other creatures in our realm. He comes from a tribe all the way in the north, a little obscure tribe that most never heard of. At a very young age, he killed a bear, a full grown bear, with his bare hands, giving him the nickname Bearkiller. When he finally left the tribe and went exploring on his own, he decided to take up a fighter's champion. He progressed to the point where now he is the champion of the underground fighters champion. Recently, Bearkiller was chosen by Talos to be his champion. Talos being the Stormlord. Talos has granted Bearkiller a great many of things. One of the greatest things that Talos did give Bearkiller was the opportunity to prove himself, not just to all the creatures of the realm, but to himself, to make sure that he was worthy.
How did you come up with the idea for your character? And did you draw inspiration from any particular sources or experiences?
I've always been a big fan of how barbaric class, how they fight and everything that goes about it suits me. I've always played characters as barbaric, which is full of rage, hack and slash, don't care, go in, destroy everything, and come out. Maybe a little scathed up, but that happens. Um, so a barbarian was always gonna be my first choice. Now the Goliath race, I was unsure at first on how well the Goliath race was actually going to perform. I didn't know if the Goliath was going to be better than just like a normal human for a barbarian. Turns out I made the right choice. Past experiences, video games. I've played countless video games, hack and slash games, and I draw some of my experience and my battle style from my youth and when I used to play those type of hack and slash games then and to this day.
All right. Question number three: what are your character's strengths and weaknesses, and how do they impact the way that you play the game?
That's a very long list. Bearkiller's got a slew of strengths. We'll go with the weaknesses. He has a very big weakness towards his compatriot. If one falls, I got your six. I'm coming back no matter what to get you. No man gets left behind. And I've had that happen a couple of times where in campaign, I've actually gone back and got my characters. The last time wasn't so lucky, but that tends to happen sometimes. But all well ends well, and I came back from it. The strengths, if I were to compile a list, it'd take about another hour to just discuss all of his strengths. Weaknesses, he doesn't do well too much in hot climate. Other than that, he doesn't have much weakness, but he has a lot of strength. A lot of strength. I'm pretty sure one would say his biggest weakness is his love for his compatriot and his willingness to do what it takes to help them out, no matter the cost. Some
Uh,
people would call that a weakness. That's why I threw it up like that. But I consider it a both. It is a strength and a weakness because at times it can hurt you.
how does your character fit into the larger story or campaign, and what motivates them to be a part of the adventure?
His role is support with the campaign. In the whole big picture, he's him and the Lost Souls, not just Bearkiller himself. He plays a part in with the Lost Souls, and their part is to help maintain the lawfulness and the righteousness in the realm. As for Bearkiller's single goal to help people and to slay any enemies that come before him. I mean, he's taken out a Hydra, not single handedly, but he's taken out Hydra, dragon, a lich in dragon form. There's a long list there. But, and it wasn't just him. It was also the combined efforts of the Lost Soul.
Have there been any particular memorable moments or challenges that your character has faced during gameplay?
Oh boy, yeah. When I almost got turned into a death knight. That was particularly mentally challenging for the most part. Trying to figure out the best ways to perform well in combat, considering we have a cleric, and I was dealing with the undead effects. So I had to compromise certain areas of my battle style in favor for staying alive and not getting killed. Clerics kill an undead immediately. It's just the way of the game. And I was dealing with those undead effects due to Zathindra's Shimmerscale, who happened to be a silver dragonborn lich. With the combined efforts, I was able to take my cleaver, stab it in her stomach and pull her legs, and completely sever her in half. I thought that was a very good one. Oh, when we were up on the airship, we were, I would say, about 500 feet up into the air at the time. We all had to abandon ship. Bearkiller goes from up there to the ground and no time flat and leaves a crater 3 times his size. And I walked away from it. That's always a plus.
How would you say that your character has evolved over the course of the game, and have they changed in any significant ways?
When Talos decided during this current battle that we had just completed, decided that he needed to assist me and help me by unlocking my ancestral to where I can become 32 foot tall and weighing in at over 21,000 pounds. I'd say that is a very big, drastic change considering he's only just under 10 foot. you know, that's a very big change. But we're not talking about mainly physical, we're talking about mental characteristics. Over time, he has seen many, many creatures throughout the land and learned their ways. So he is now considering himself a traveler of the world and a gatherer of knowledge. He gains knowledge, he stores it for the societies that are in the realm where he resides.
Are there any other characters in the game that your character has developed a close relationship with? And if so, how those relationships evolved?
I can't say any one in particular. Special friendships, none in particular. There was one character in our campaign. We had a more of a verbal rivalry. We always just talked a lot of smack to each other, just heckle each other for no reason at all. But he has since went his own way, and I miss my kid. I miss my little elf friend. It would be nice to see my elf friend again. Maybe one day.
What do you enjoy most about playing this character, and how has playing Dungeons and Dragons impacted your life overall?
What most I enjoy about Bearkiller isn't the fact that he is a sponge, isn't the fact that he melts out massive damage. My favorite aspect about him would have to be his no care attitude. Just go in, get the job done, no matter the cost. And mainly those jobs are taking out enemies. So, how has it impacted my IRL? It's given me more perspective on people in general in society, how they act and how to interact well with them, and how to interact differently with people in society.
Can you walk us through a recent or particular exciting moment of gameplay that you've experienced that your character was involved in?
Killing Zathindra was one of the more recent ones. Jumping out of an airship or jumping off the airship and leaving a massive crater in the ground. Oh, there was one that stands out the most to me. There was one time we were ambushed. I remember it was goblins, I think. and one of them decided he wanted to buck up to me. Well, I decided to grab him by his throat. Enraged, well, at that time when I enraged, I got about 16 foot tall, so you can imagine the mess he made in his pants. Well, I decided to yell over to Tharg, our resident dwarf monk. Yell over to him and tell him, I got a present for you. Catch. Over about 65 to 75 feet away, balled him up and threw him. That was fun. That was funny. That's one of the more memorable ones because that was one of the early days. There were a lot of memorable, and not to say none of the newer stuff is memorable too, but during the early days in the lower levels, we did some crazy stuff, and I have an awesome, very awesome DM to thank for that, for enabling us to just let our imaginations run rampant.
And finally, question 10. What are your future plans for your character, and what do you hope to achieve with them in future gameplay sessions?
He plans to retire once he gets to a high enough level. Once he's a little weary of the constant battles, because he's getting up there in the ages too, as well. So he's not a young buck. No, he wants to, once he retires, build more of a dojo, as one would call it, but more of a training grounds for underground fighter champions, trained by the one and only Bearkiller. And as for future going in through campaigns, travel more, grow more intellectually, and slice some more bad guys. I mean, that's not a hard task for Bearkiller, especially when he's got a full comedians that don't take no games and they don't play no name.
And is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, that'll be good.
All right. Well, Chris, thank you for your time and thank you very much for talking about Bearkiller. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, always.